The railgun round punched through the Valkorian destroyer's hull at 47 kilometers per second, and Jenny watched the enemy ship fold like origami made of titanium and spite. "Clean kill," Anna's voice crackled through his helmet comm. "That's 16 this engagement." Jenny didn't respond immediately. He was too busy watching the debris field expand, each fragment following Newton's laws with the kind of religious devotion that made physics predictable and warfare possible. The Valkorians had brought energy weapons to this fight, sleek, elegant beams of coherent light that could theoretically strike at the speed of causality itself. They'd learned, as every species eventually did, that the universe didn't care about elegance. It cared about momentum. 17, Jenny corrected, highlighting a smaller contact on his tactical display. "Frigate class bearing 270 trying to burn away. Anna, you have the shot." Aboard the HMCS Inertia, positioned 300 kilometers spinward, Anna was already running calculations. Her fingers danced across haptic interfaces that existed only in her augmented reality overlay, solving differential equations that would make her academy professors weep with pride or despair. She'd never been sure which. "Solution locked," she said, firing. The railgun's magnetic coils sang their electric song, and another slug of depleted uranium, dumb, simple, beautiful, launched into the black at velocities that made mockery of human intuition. No guidance system, no propellant, just mass and velocity, holding hands and promising violence. The Valkorians had thought themselves advanced. Their ships bristled with laser arrays and particle beam cannons, weapons that struck at light speed, that never missed in the tactical sense because by the time you saw them, they'd already hit you. But the Valkorians had made the same mistake every energy weapon civilization made. They'd forgotten that light carried no momentum. "Impact in 4 seconds, Jenny counted down. He'd positioned his ship, the Gospel, in a polar orbit above the engagement plane, giving him a god's eye view of the battlefield. 3, 2. The round hit. At those velocities, armor was a suggestion. The frigate's reactor housing ruptured, and for a brief moment, a new star was born and died in the span of a heartbeat. Why do they keep trying? Anna wondered aloud. It wasn't really a question. They'd been fighting the Valkorians for 8 months now, ever since first contact had gone catastrophically wrong. Their targeting is perfect. Their fire rate is incredible. On paper, they should win. "Because paper doesn't understand the gospel," Jenny said. He'd started calling it that 3 months ago, the gospel of momentum, and the name had stuck throughout the fleet. "Ready for acceleration burn, we're repositioning." The gospel's fusion torch lit, pressing Jenny into his acceleration couch with 3 gravities of force. His ship wasn't elegant. She was a flying railgun with life support bolted on, all mass drivers and ammunition stores, and the massive capacitor banks needed to make Newton's second law into a prayer of destruction. The Valkorians, by contrast, had built ships like sculptures, graceful curves optimized for radiating the tremendous waste heat their energy weapons produced. Jenny had read the intelligence reports. Each Valkorian destroyer could pump out petawatts of laser fire, enough to boil oceans, and they could maintain that fire for minutes at a time. But lasers pushed with photon pressure, particle beams with charged particles. The math was simple and brutal. Momentum equals mass times velocity. Light had velocity but almost no mass. The Valkorian weapons could ablate armor, could burn through hulls given enough time, but they couldn't make you move. A railgun round moving at 47 kilometers per second could do more than kill you. It could change your trajectory, could throw you off course, could turn your carefully calculated orbital mechanics into a nightmare of uncontrolled tumbling. "Jenny, we have a problem." Anna's voice had lost its earlier confidence. "New contacts, multiple signatures bearing 035, I'm reading. Jesus, I'm reading 47 ships." Jenny pulled up the tactical display. His blood went cold. The Valkorians had brought a fleet. Classification, he asked, though he already suspected the answer. Looks like a full battle group. 3 dreadnoughts, 15 cruisers, the rest destroyers and frigates. They're moving to bracket us. Jenny, we need to call for reinforcement. Nearest battle group is 6 hours out, Jenny said. He ran the numbers in his head, the same calculations he'd been running since the academy. We have 11 ships. They have 47. Then we run. Can't. Jenny highlighted their position on the tactical plot. They've already got firing solutions on our escape vectors. The moment we turn tail, they'll light us up. Our engines radiate too much heat. We'd be perfect targets. Anna was quiet for a moment. When she spoke again, her voice was steady. So we fight. So we fight, Jenny agreed. But not their way. Signal the fleet. Tell them we're implementing Gospel Protocol 7. Gospel Protocol 7. They'd practiced it but never used it in actual combat. It was based on a principle so old it predated spaceflight. If you can't win a direct engagement, change the battlefield. All ships, this is Gospel Actual, Jenny broadcast on the fleet channel. Gospel 7 is active. Spread formation, maximum dispersion. Kill your engines and go ballistic. Fire only on confirmed locks. Make them hunt for every single one of us. The human fleet scattered like seeds in a hurricane. 11 ships, all burning hard in different directions before cutting their engines entirely, becoming dark and silent. In space, a ship running cold was effectively invisible unless it maneuvered or fired weapons. The Valkorians predictably opened fire. Laser beams sleeted through the space where the human fleet had been, each one traveling at the speed of light, each one finding nothing but vacuum. The enemy had perfect targeting, but targeting wasn't the problem. Physics was. A laser could burn you if it hit you, but it couldn't knock you off course unless it literally vaporized your ship. And the humans, in their dumb, heavy vessels, weren't obliging enough to sit still. First rule of the gospel, Jenny murmured, watching the display. Always be moving. Contact, Anna's voice cut through. Valkorian destroyer bearing 180, range 200 kilometers. She's burning hard, trying to get an angle on the inertia. Light her up, Jenny ordered. 3 human ships fired simultaneously. Their railgun rounds weren't aimed at where the Valkorian ship was. They were aimed at where it would be. The enemy's trajectory was predictable because they had to maneuver to fire their weapons effectively. They needed to point their laser arrays, needed to dissipate heat, needed to maintain optimal firing positions. The humans just needed to throw rocks really fast. 2 rounds missed. The third hit the destroyer amidships, and the impact sent the enemy vessel spinning like a thrown plate. Her laser arrays, now pointing at empty space, uselessly burned light years into nothing. Second rule, Jenny said. Momentum is forever, energy dissipates. The battle became a deadly game of prediction and patience. The Valkorians had more ships, better sensors, weapons that struck instantaneously. But every time they maneuvered to fire, they telegraphed their position. Every time they fired, they heated up, becoming brilliant targets against the cosmic background radiation. And every time a human railgun round connected, it didn't just destroy, it disrupted. Ships were knocked off course. Formations broke apart. The elegant Valkorian battle group became a chaotic swarm of vessels trying to re-establish coordination, while under fire from enemies they couldn't see until it was too late. Gospel, I've got a solution on one of their dreadnoughts, Anna reported. But it's going to take everything I have, all my remaining rounds, full capacitor discharge. Jenny checked the tactical situation. The human fleet had lost 4 ships, but the Valkorians had lost 19. The math was shifting, but not fast enough. What's your confidence? He asked. 87%. She's trying to anchor the formation, running predictable burns. If I'm right, I can crack her spine. And if you're wrong, then I'm out of ammunition, and you'll have to cover my retreat." Jenny smiled inside his helmet. Third rule of the gospel: when in doubt, hit harder, take the shot. The inertia emerged from her ballistic trajectory, engines flaring to life just long enough to adjust her position. Anna's railgun fired once, twice, 3 times in rapid succession, the maximum rate the weapon could sustain without melting its own coils. 3 slugs, each massing 20 kilograms, each carrying kinetic energy measured in megatons. They crossed 250 kilometers in 6 seconds. The first round missed. The second struck a glancing blow, tearing away the dreadnought's sensor array. The third hit dead center. At those velocities, matter didn't behave like matter anymore. It behaved like fluid, like plasma, like the primordial chaos that existed before physics decided to have rules. The dreadnought didn't explode, it simply ceased to maintain its previous shape. Hull metal flowed. The reactor containment failed. And then, finally, it exploded. The shockwave, actual matter moving in actual space, carrying actual momentum, slammed into 3 nearby Valkorian cruisers, sending them tumbling. "That's the gospel," Jenny said quietly. "Not energy, not information, just good old-fashioned momentum. Mass times velocity. The first physics humans ever learned when they threw the first rock at the first enemy." The battle lasted another 40 minutes. When it ended, 7 human ships remained operational. The Valkorian fleet was scattered wreckage, a debris field that would orbit this nameless star for millennia. Jenny and Anna rendezvoused 3 hours later, both ships battered but intact. They floated in the black, running damage control and waiting for reinforcements. "We were outnumbered 4-1, Anna said over their private channel. "We shouldn't have won." "We didn't win because we were better," Jenny replied, looking out at the stars. "We won because we remembered something they forgot. The universe doesn't care about sophistication. It cares about fundamentals. Force equals mass times acceleration. Momentum is conserved. Energy dissipates, but momentum is forever." "The gospel," Anna said. "The gospel," Jenny agreed. They brought lasers to a rock fight, and learned what humans had known since the first ape picked up the first stone. Sometimes the oldest weapons are the best weapons. Sometimes simplicity beats sophistication. Sometimes you don't need to be elegant. You just need to hit hard enough that the universe notices.